I think we got some good topics. And we're live, ladies and gentlemen. Miss Illy, what's going on? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good today. How about yourself?
I'm feeling good, man. And if I wasn't, who would listen? Now I feel
Exactly.
good. I feel good, especially I came on extra energized because we've been talking throughout the week about different topics or whatnot, and just throwing some ideas back and forward. And I think we got a good one today, man. And I hope really a lot of people chime in and let us know what they think. But I definitely think we got a pretty good one today. Today, let's start off. We're going to continue a discussion that we had, and it's been a lot in the media. It's been a lot on different social platforms in the internet, and they talk about this alpha male. And I remember the last time we spoke, you had a pretty clear definition of what you thought was an alpha male. And then the more I thought about it, the more I had my own definition. And I kind of just let it marinate. So I'm really curious to hear what your thoughts are on what represents an alpha male to you, the definition. Let's put that out there for the audience in your definition.
Mm-hmm.
And B, how can you spot the alpha male in a group?
Mm.
All right.
Um, I, for me, I always, whenever you start talking alpha, beta, I always get the image of a wolf, like a pack of wolves, right? Because that's where it really derived from as far as our examples. And when you watch animals interact, the alpha never has to say, "Hey, everybody, let's go this way. Let's do this. Let's do that." Like it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's an energy. For me, an alpha man is an energy source or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's a way of being. Any man that has ever proclaimed himself as an alpha, unless it was a strict conversation about it, that's always a red flag to me. Because no, like, you know what I'm saying? I know men that I consider to be alphas that wouldn't consider themselves to be that, because they just, you know what I mean? I'm doing me, but they naturally step up to the plate. And it's not just energy. It's even, if you're talking about in relationships and the day-to-day activities, I think it's somebody that, okay, babe, we're faced with a situation or just faced with daily life. You know that you can count on this person to take the lead and take charge and, handle the situation. And even if they're not orchestrating it all, because I've dated a guy that it was like, I still considered him to be an alpha. He's not necessarily going to orchestrate things, but if it's like, okay, this is what needs to be done, and I'm turning around and the shit's done, like, oh damn, like I didn't know you was going to do it already. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it's just a way of being, and it's not self-proclaimed.
I agree with you. I mean, I think you touched a lot of awesome points on that one. I once read a book. It was the 21 Rules of Leadership or something like it by John Maxwell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the rule that resonates with me, and it's stuck with me my entire life in everything I do, was leadership is influence, nothing else, nothing more.
Facts.
That's what he says. Leadership is influence, nothing else, nothing more. So when you talk about that energy, that's exactly what I feel as an alpha. It's you walk in a room, you're there with a ton of other men, and when shit hits the fan, or even this big decisions that to make, everybody just kind of gravitates to see what your opinion is.
Mm-hmm.
And you could be the quietest guy in the room.
Right.
You could be the one. It's about it's the confidence in terms of not braggadocious, not being out there. It's more so in this calm energy, like that you produce. When I think alpha, it's crazy that I think this way, but my mind always gravitates towards like the cartels,
right?
or like the mafia,
chilling, like what it is.
See these men,
right?
And for a long time, what is it? Real G's move in silence like lasagna.
I was
where
just about
you
to say
don't
that.
see him, you don't even know who he is, but when he points that way, he points over there, 5 people, you know what I'm saying, disappear. That's the kind of energy. And I've been in rooms. I've been in rooms where, and here's another aspect of it. I think a true alpha is a person that has an understanding of what their strengths and weaknesses are. You know what I mean? Somebody who has a real deep understanding of who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Because what do they call it? Big dick energy kind of thing, where they walk in a room and they understand this is not my strength, That's not my strength. See, somebody who pretends to be an alpha will go, and regardless of who has the better idea in the room, regardless of who has the better situation to get the group ahead, will say, no, we're going to do it my way, or try to force themselves.
Right.
That to me has never been the alpha.
Right.
The alpha is the one that says, hey man, you know what? Maybe you do know a little bit. I'm secure enough to allow your idea to take off. It doesn't affect me either way.
You said a key word, and I think it's just the security in it, because a true alpha to me exudes confidence. And so nobody's perfect. You know that, regardless of how evolved they are, intelligent, they have a sense of security within themselves and their capabilities that somebody else taking over one role or one task doesn't threaten them or make them feel like their position is in danger. And kind of like you said, even with the influence, going back to the wolves, like I know wolves have their own language, but I don't see wolves start howling or barking when it's time to bust a move. Like the alpha's gone, like, oh, he's going, let's go. You know what I'm saying? There's no questions asked. This is what we do. And so, yeah, I think a lot of men, the whole thing. So, and then we can touch on this after, because the whole alpha beta thing has even become up in conversations with regards to women. You hear women talking about, oh, I'm an alpha woman, I'm an alpha woman. And like, how does that fit into a relationship? You know what I'm saying? Especially a traditional.
Right. I don't know if it's a unique perspective, but I do have a perspective on that. Right. And again, if we're going to use animal references, let's go to the animal kingdom. Let's go to the elephants. The elephants are a matriarchal system. They're led by the alpha. Well, she's not even the matriarch of the family. They're led by the woman, right? Of the male woman. I mean, the female woman. Whatever. And what she's learned to do is history and time, and what she learned growing up and all these things. What it taught her where the water was. Mm-hmm. And it could be 10, 15 miles. That's why I say an elephant never forgets, because it's learned from years of growing up how to get to the water. And it'll go over mountains, around corn. You're like, how the hell did it know that the water was over there, right? To me, the leader is the one that takes you to the water, okay? Mm-hmm. Not the one that says, I know where the water is, because it argues about where no. Right. Or not the one that knows how to get to the water by themselves.
That part.
Okay, because if she can get to the water by herself, that's not an alpha. That's an individual that's, you're an A-type personality, baby. But I don't consider that an alpha, right? So you'll meet a woman, and the same thing applies for men, but and I use it in a different way. But for women, right? To me, if we're gonna attach that label of alpha to a woman, if she's single and she's by herself, right, and she has no children, then I look at her individual achievements. Okay, what she does, how she's gained. That to me, okay, cool. Now I can judge you. Now I can look at you and say, okay, you're an alpha. If you have children or a family, I judge you based on looking at your children and your family. What decisions you've made to get them to the water. In other words, education, safety, right. Their home, how they look. That's how I judge you, right? For a man, when I say alpha within the context of a family, I look at them and I say, safety, security. Did you achieve those goals? Did you achieve the goal of keeping your family safe and providing the security that they'll have everything they need, and being a provider? Right. That's, to me, is an alpha. So you'll find a guy, right, that guys on the internet will call a simp. Oh, he's a simp. He kisses his girl's ass and he's up his da-da-da. And he's so sensitive, blah, 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 right? But they live in a beautiful house. Their kids go to amazing schools. They freaking have a comfortable living, very little debt. They're functioning at an extremely high level as a unit. When a guy can be in a situation like that, his individual reaction and how he acts and what he gets, how he treats his wife has zero to do on what I think is an alpha. You know what I mean? To me, it has 100%. I'm going to look past the facade. Let me look behind you. Because a lot of times, these guys that are alphas in the street, they don't run their home. Have you ever seen, I was watching I Am Athlete. It's a great podcast with a couple of different football players or whatever. And a lot of them, it's clear, these are what people would consider alpha males, right? They're alpha males. They're top of the food chain physically. They're in their back financially, all this stuff. And then when you talk to them like, no, my wife runs the house. Like she runs it. Like she says jump. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, we're not going to buy that? All right, no problem. It's not about what they project to the world. It's what happens behind these four doors, you know? So like this whole conversation, even the internet, I can't stand that shit. It's gotten to the point where it drives me crazy. Every other video is some dude talking about, because you need to talk to women like this, and you need to do this, and you need to do that. And you're like, first of all, here's the thing. You're subscribing to what somebody else made popular. I said this the last time. Show me videos of pre-2018, 2015, where you were posting talking like this. Show me Instagram where you were talking like this. You weren't, right? I know you weren't. You know why? Because you saw a viral video of some guy talking to a woman in a certain way, took a lot of what he said out of context, and grabbed it and applied it to your mediocre life, right? And you're this dude, and by mediocre, I'm being exaggerated, I'm joking, but you grabbed it and you said, well, if I create this character, well, yeah, fuck it. Now I'm this guy. And you know what? And the alpha man, stop it. You literally became, when the day you did that, you became a beta male. You became a follower. The day you subscribed to that, you became a follower.
Right.
Show me what your original thought is. Show me something you're not regurgitating.
Right.
Tell me, right? Show me. It's like when I'm doing, when I ask about this, social media thing. I'm really trying to like grow my social media for my book release and all these other things that I got going on. So I'm talking to people, and a lot of people start to come to you. You're like, so yeah. The first thing I ask is, show me your portfolio. What does your portfolio look like?
Right.
Please let me know. You know, let me see. Like I need to see. Even now, right? My coaching service, I literally have developed my small. It's small, but I'm developing my little portfolio, and no names, but like just different. Okay, just to show people that, oh no, this is my reviews. Here, you want to see what I do? Here, look, here it is. Here's proof. And when you find a lot of these men, they don't have that portfolio. Where show me the 5 women that you're rotating, that you're talking about.
And even that, like, is rotating 5 women make you an alpha? Because just because you
no, here's the thing. No, that's not what I mean. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like imply that. What I meant was, it's like you're claiming that, all right? But let me see. Okay, to me, the highest level of game is honesty.
Right.
After all my years of lying, after all my years of being a cheater, or after all my years of juggling and trying to play games, I've learned that the highest level of game is honesty, which is not a game, but we're going to call it's honesty.
Right.
It's, you look at a woman and you say, A, B, and C, take it or leave it.
Yep.
Take it or leave it. If she takes it, she can't hold it against you, right? I want to see these guys that talk this game. Show me these women that you've been able to look at and say, take it or leave it, and they're still there.
Right.
There's plenty of men that do it. There are men that do it. You know what I mean? Sometimes culture helps. Sometimes religion helps. But there's a lot of men that do it. And nothing off of these guys is spitting that kind of energy. Not one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You look at them and you're like, you're literally subscribing to another man's ideology, to another man's system, to what he thinks, regurgitating what he thinks, and you have the nerve to come here to me and call yourself an alpha male. Not having it.
All right. And especially because a lot of times, not only are you already following someone else's system, but it's like you've grasped onto this to justify maybe your poor dating skills, your inability to get a woman to submit to you. There's another guy that I follow, I forget his name, but he had posted a video, this was years ago, and his thing was, if she won't submit, you ain't shit. And he basically did this whole soliloquy of like, you don't have to force your woman to submit, you don't have to convince her, it's not a conversation. If a woman does not naturally fall in line, then it's just you, my man. Like, there's nothing you can do.
It's something, you hit it right on the head. That is something that I'm learning as a grown. It's so sad that it took me this long, but I'm learning as a grown man. It's subconscious. Every time I see somebody type about submission and I'm not going to submit to no man, sweetie, then you have no idea what you're talking about. Because if you understood what you were talking about, you would understand that you don't even realize you did it. It's just happening. Why? Because you trust. Submission is a word that's thrown around. It's so misunderstood. And if I had to replace it, it would be a word that's called trust. I trust that what you're doing is the best interest of my safety, my security. I trust you to follow you, to understand, to believe you, right? What people don't talk about is the reverse conversation. How men, we lead, but we also submit to our women, but in different ways. I'm in a situation right now, right? Where she doesn't like being called this, but my girl is my manager. She's so on point with her business. She's my manager, right? And when she comes to me and she gives me a criticism, right? In the past, I would have gotten in my bag. What? Nah, my ego would have popped out. No, what are you trying to argument? It would have been me being defensive. But there comes a point where my trust for her is now, I can say it publicly on another level than I've ever been, that I can look at her and say, okay, you're probably right.
Right.
Like, don't beat me down. Don't kick my ass. Like, you're this, you're that. No, that's not going to work here. But on the other hand, if you give me, hey, Mike, listen, this, and this, and this, and this. Where maybe initially I might be like, but then I'm like, the source. You know what? I trust you. You know what? You're right. Okay, I'm going to take that look. I don't like that look, but I like this shirt. No, I don't like. Okay, I'm going to follow you. I'm going to follow your lead. That's submission. I talk about, and again, I hate bringing it up because I'm the number one person that says when somebody starts talking about their girlfriend or their relationship too much, that you're full of shit. But I'm literally doing this for direct examples. When I met my girl, she's a high-level professional. When I met her, the first thing out her mouth after having, we got together, it was fun. She looks at me and goes, look, I'm not going to cook and clean like that. I don't do that. I was married for a long time and I had to do that. And like, I almost felt, I hated it. And that's part of a lot of reasons I want to be, I wanted to be alone for a while. I looked at her and said, cool. I've always cooked and cleaned for myself. I don't need that shit. That's fine.
Right.
2 years in,
she's chefing it up, and ain't she?
All she does is wants to make sure I eat. And did you cook? And comes to my house and did it. And I'm looking at her like, and we had the conversation. It was a physical conversation. I'm like, why? You said you don't do that. She goes, I don't know. I just want to do it for you. Like, I just want to. And we literally talked about it.
She's had that exact issue with my ex, and it was a lot of head bumping. I didn't grow up in a traditional household. My parents were separated. So she was a working mother all the time. And, she cooked here and there, but, we ordered out a lot. I would be making spaghetti. So for me, the traditional role was never out of a sense of obligation. For me, it's like, if you want that, you have to earn that. And because he and I could never really see eye to eye on his role within the household, I never felt required or the need to, or even the desire to do it. You know what I'm saying? And it did end up in our demise. But that was always my stance, was like, I'm not going to do these things out of obligation. Obviously we make sure the house is decent, make sure we eat something, but for me to cook is because I want to. It's because I love you.
We always talk about this. It's an exchange of energy. It's what you put out, right? What I put out to her says to her, okay, I'm gonna reciprocate. I'm gonna just keep, and we're constantly. So like one thing, and oh my God, this is embarrassing, but it's the truth. I don't wash dishes, man. Mm-hmm. Yo, you want to talk about something? If I can go back in my childhood, right? And point to something, everybody had like this when they're raised by their mother. There's one thing that's not my boy. My mother put it in my head, and I'm gonna get some shit for this, that I don't wash dishes. Men don't wash dishes. She put that in my head years ago. My sisters, because my mom was working all the time, I would be home with my sisters. They were like, we're not playing that shit. You better go wash some dishes. Right? So I have to, whatever. So to this day, I look at them and I'm like, I'll buy paper plates and shit because I'm like, I'm not washing no damn dish. Or I'll eat out 3 days or 4 days a week because I'm not washing no damn dishes. Or if I cook, that's a disaster because I can't stand it,
Right.
So a lot of times, whatever. And what I find myself doing, the way one of the small examples on how I submit is, one day we were here and my girl was cooking for the family. She made a bunch of stuff and hooked it up, and it was real nice out, like a little barbecue type thing. And when everybody was done, I just got up and I started washing the dishes. I just started washing dishes, yo, just because I said to myself, I'm like, yo, look, I gotta this is my example of it wasn't like an outward like, well, hey, look at me, I'm washing dishes. More so like, hey, I appreciate you. Look,
Right.
you know how much I hate this. But for you, I'm gonna do it. For you, I'm gonna submit to this. I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? Because I trust that you got my best interest in mind, all that shit. So I find like we could take it back to the internet. It's like and it's a lot of single guys, right? It's a lot of single guys. So some guys call me a feminist, right? But I always say, yeah, I'm a feminist with some chauvinist tendencies. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm super pro. Like, yo, what I like to do is I smell bullshit fast. So like, I just hate it when women that I care about that are in my circle, I see them getting taken advantage of. So I pounce and I'm like, that's bullshit, bro. Don't stop. Like, don't, and I get into this mode, right? And sometimes it projects on the screen where I'll come off and be like, whatever. And it looks like, oh, you're man hating, you're da da da. It's not that. It's just that I hate fake. I hate fake. When I've met guys, and I have met them that are really about that life, where I'm like, oh shit, like, and not necessarily wildly successful, but got their shit together.
Right.
You know what I mean? They got their shit together. You meet them, cool guys, usually very humble. Very rarely are they the ones,
bragging,
chest out, popping, walking in the club. These guys are low key, keeping it subtle, and they look at you and you talk to them, and they're like, yeah, man, I'm with what's the name, and me and her are dating, and then the girl shows up, and you're like, oh, it's gonna be a problem, man. And the girl's like, he's like, well, I told you I was with this girl today. Like, why are you? She goes, I know, but I want to see you. And he flat out looked at her right in the face and goes, sweetheart, but your day is Tuesday, Wednesday. Like, why are you being like that? I'll take you. Don't worry about it. We're gonna go out. This is what I got planned for you. Like, just chill, Yo, this girl looked at him and said, all right, daddy. Turned around and walked away. And the girl that he was with looked at him and she goes, what happened? He goes, I don't know. She must have thought it was like Tuesday or Wednesday or something. She goes, oh no, that's cool. Whatever. Like it was nothing. I don't know. Oh, okay, just see you tomorrow. Like, and I'm watching. I'm like, oh shit. Because every guy will make you feel like he's that guy. But very rarely do you bump into him. And he never looks like what you think he's gonna look like. He's never in a BMW. He's never in a Lambo. He's never in a whatever. That's never the guy that I've come across. The guys that I come across that are like that have moderate vehicles, affordable, because they know that their money is being put in things that are gonna gain wealth, like all over the place. And when you talk to them, they're like, well, they're very business minded. They're not women hungry. You know what I mean?
And
it's just a different
from a
type of thing.
materialistic perspective, the reality of it is most of us buy these things, these cars, these clothes to appear to be a certain way. And again, when you exude alpha energy for real, it's like, fuck, you gonna get in this Toyota Camry and come on, girl. So yeah, I feel that for sure.
I have a friend, actually a fraternity brother named Chaz. I got two actually, Chaz and I would say Carlos Pereira. These two guys that I know. I'm gonna tag them in here because I want them to hear this. When I think alpha, these are two guys that come to mind. Come to mind. Because anything we've ever talked about, anything they've ever come out of their mouth has happened. So for instance, if he says, I'm going to get my doctorate, he gets the doctorate. I'm going to learn how to fly helicopters. He learned how to fly helicopters. I'm becoming an officer in the Army. He became an officer in the Army. I'm going to learn how to do this, that. I'm going to buy a vet. Everything Carlos has ever said to me has happened. Okay? Same thing with Chaz. Everything Chaz I've ever heard come out of his mouth, yo, I'm going to start a food truck business. That's popping in Newark right now. Bam. Did it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to be president of this. Everything I've ever seen them do, right? These guys are, when in relationships, faithful men. Faithful men. You put them in a room. No, there's this saying. What is it? You throw me into the jungle, I'll come out wearing a leopard jacket or whatever. Some shit like those are those type of dudes.
Right.
That's who I consider alpha males. Guys that when they're in a group, they just stand out. Like it's automatically like the group shifts in their direction. You know what I mean? I can be that at times. I know that. Like I know when I'm in a group of my friends and in situations, yeah, I do. I'm able to do that. I'm able people gravitate towards me. But I'm also when I'm outside in public, I'm a bit of an introvert. You know what I'm saying? Where when I'm on camera or if I'm talking to close friends, you can't shut me up. But when I'm outside of my comfort zone,
You be chilling.
I'm very quiet. My energy, I let my energy speak for me. I'm very quiet. And I'll be like, yo, whatever, talk soft, never yell. I don't argue. I don't believe in that shit. That's the other thing. I subscribe to the loudest person in the room is always the weakest.
Facts.
They're always the weakest. The guy that has to flex and get mad. No, but what? And I'm the toughest guy here. I remember, right, when I worked with in a juvenile facility, right? There was the kid that used to fight all the time. There was these kids that like were followers, and there was always this one kid. Yo, he hardly ever spoke. He was just chill, cool. He was always the shot caller. He was chilling. The kid that had to fight was always fighting, was usually the most scared. Because they're the ones that had to prove at every turn that I'm not a pussy because they were so afraid of being a victim. And then you had the kids that are like, nah, chilling. Yo, you cool. And then if you didn't pay attention, you would think this is the sweetest kid ever. And then when you really paid attention, you're like, oh, he runs this whole shit.
Killer. Right.
Yeah, he runs this whole shit. We got to be careful out here with this boy, But
do you think that I have a friend, shout out Vincent, his belief is that alphas cannot coexist and that in any relationship, one person has to be the alpha and one person has to be the beta. What do you think about that? Because again, if we look at the animal kingdom, there's not two alpha wolves leading the pack. There may be, I know there's like usually the one in the front and I think the ones in the back are also like secondary alphas. I don't know how it goes, but you know what I'm saying? Do you think that two alpha personalities can coexist, or do you feel like there's a battle for leadership? I have another gentleman that I follow. His thing is this, that women that are self-proclaimed alpha women are a turn off for a lot of men, that they exude masculine energy and they try to take charge and are not usually willing to submit, and that is not an attractive quality for a man.
Okay. Using his definition of alpha, I'll use that. Because if I use my definition of alpha, that's who's supposed to exist together. Alpha. Because remember, in the lion kingdom, the lion doesn't hunt. The male lion doesn't hunt.
Right.
The female lions hunt. And they take care of the children. All the male lions there to protect the pride, to watch. So those are two, you know what I'm saying? So let's use that where, let's say, two dominant personalities, two whatever. See, again, if I'm going to call somebody an alpha, that person has to be extremely self-aware. Okay? And they have to understand their strengths. And I'm not following anybody who is not self-aware and doesn't understand what their strengths are and their weaknesses. So when you have a family and you guys are together, and let's say you have type A, like that kind of strong personality. Mm-hmm. In order for it to work, we both have to be self-aware of what our weaknesses are. Where we may clash is where we both think our strengths are, and let's say we have different ideas, right? But the truth be told, very rarely does that happen. A lot of times it's where I find issues occur, and I talk about it in my book. How in the chapter 1, taking the mask off. Chapter 2, taking the mask off. I talk about the 5 steps to eliminating toxic masculinity. All right. And there's a difference between inside the home and what people represent outside the home. Mm-hmm. So when I talk about within a loving relationship within the home, I say eliminate gender roles. The only idea that is supposed to take the lead, because there could be an alpha idea, is the one that benefits the family the most. The one that leads you, takes you the furthest. So, right. And a lot of times women and men clash because men don't think big picture idea. Women thinking steps like, oh, well, we got to get out of this. We got to pay this. We got to make sure we do this, So that's where people may clash. But when I look at it, I say, hey, look, Let's not look at who's what. Let's look at the idea. Which idea on paper, if we're both alphas and we're analytical and we look at things in a certain way, which one gets us the furthest? That's the way I think they can survive. If they don't do that, yeah, personality wise, they're gonna clash because well, again, it depends on their love language. So if your love language is gifts, uh let's say, yeah, gifts, and if it's quality time, you're fucked. You're fucked. Because yo, you gotta work all the time. My career's taking off all the time. This But if we both have that understanding, we're gifts, we can get together and every now and then and hey, look what I bought you, look what I bought you, and oh, I love you, you love me too. Oh man, we're still good. Then that's different, you know. It's a complicated question. Like I said, man, I don't look at it in that sense. I look at it as in one person has to handle A, the other person has to handle B. Right.
I think the issue, and I said it earlier too, is that all of these personality types are self-proclaimed. That I have decided, and again, a lot of, especially when it comes to women, men too though, but it's particularly for women, it's like, I've decided that I'm an alpha woman because I'm single and I've, elevated in my career and da-da-da-da. But are you really though? You know what I'm saying? And again, I think the need, right, going back to what you said, like the need to constantly reiterate that fact or make it be known in of itself screams insecurity to me, especially from a man, but even from a woman, because it's like, as a woman, why, like we do what we have to do. I have me and Chanel, we have this conversation all the time, and it's like, we've done what we have to do, we have our careers, but damn it, let somebody come along and be like, baby, put it all down, say less, like I'm good.
Yeah. Position it's right. It almost feels like when somebody's just living that lifestyle, or let's say a woman is just living that lifestyle, and you watching, she's doing her thing, and she's not talking about, she just does it. You just watch her move, and she's career and da-da-da. That's one thing. And then there's the woman that will argue with you. I don't need no man because, and nah, I'm not trying to. And then you look at them and you're like, right, okay. That goes back to the whole argument was people will project outwardly, right, the opposite of what they're trying to protect. They're screaming, I'm lonely.
Right.
Like when a woman's married, my husband.
Earlier too, like that also screams, I'm about self. Because when you really talk about the alpha aspect of it, if you're not leading anybody, how are you an alpha? Because you're just leading your damn self. We can all walk around and, in circles and do what we have to do for us. But if you are not able to create a partnership and lead in whatever way that you need to, and like you said, even when it comes to a relationship as a woman, I would take the lead on the home front, on the nurturing and the parenting. So I would be the alpha in that regard. But if I'm just about me, you're not leading anything.
Let's reverse it. Let's reverse it. And this is an example that I've witnessed and I've seen and I absolutely love. I saw a relationship where they were both in a career. They had beautiful children. She says, hey, man, I'm taking this nursing to the next level. I'm going to become a doctor. Mm-hmm. And he says, okay. And what he starts to do is he starts to take a lot of the roles that people may think are
womanly.
I'm not putting a label. I'm just going to, people will take roles like taking care of the children, doing this, running around, doing the projects and taking them to the sports and all. He takes that role, right? I'm like, bro, that's the most masculine thing you could have done in that situation. You said to yourself, what's best for my family? What's going to move my family ahead the furthest? What's going to do the best? What's the best case scenario for my children? Okay, her making more money than me, her being able to achieve this in her career, her doing this. You love me, I love you. That's all that matters. Okay, cool. This is the position I'm going to take. And he's no punk. This guy's a beast, as a matter of fact. And to me, when I watch, when I'm on the internet and I watch people talking about, they will literally call that guy, oh, that's a beta male. No, my man. That's what took his family from A to Z.
But like you said before, I think if we really surveyed half of those men, that we would find out that 99.9% of them don't have a woman and probably have difficulty getting one. So yeah, because the men that I follow, the men in my life that I know that are in happy, healthy relationships, boast about what they can do for their woman. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not on some simp shit. I'm taking care of my woman. And as a result, like you said, your woman is going to take care of you. So
it's an exchange of energy, man. Hey, look, the quickest way, this is out of Shallow River Deep Ocean, the quickest way to get your needs and fantasies met is by fulfilling hers.
That's a fact.
Plain and simple.
That's a spiritual thing too. I know a lot of books that I've read, they say that it's like, you want love, give love, be love. You know what I'm saying? You want money, give money. Figure out how you can help somebody else get some money if that's what you want. And I think we have this this society that has become all about self. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and we look at what we've done for ourselves and think that those traits translate into successful relationship skills when they really do not. And I think that goes for men and women, you know. And I think a true alpha, like you said, knows when to fall back and allow somebody else to take the lead in an area where they might be weaker without feeling any way about it.
Another quote from Shallow River to Deep Ocean. A couple, you fall in love. Humans are in a constant state of evolution. Love is deciding to evolve together, to grow together. You know what I mean? That's the difference. It's a choice. I decided that this is the human that I'm going to grow with. I'm going to love him or her. See, people be like, we grew apart, or he changed. Let me ask you a question. Your child is not the same child when they were 5 as they are when they're 21. Did your love for them change? No. Your love evolved as they grew. As they made changes, you kind of looked and said, okay, and you evolved to still love them. A lot of people will see, oh, I like 5-year-olds. I don't like 21-year-olds. That's it. I'm done. It's over. This relationship is over. Like that. I remember
that's when I was a teenager. I definitely had those moments, but I got over it, and I love her again.
Okay, so we've started a segment that I think people find really interesting, and I want to keep going with it. We'll kind of try to do it weekly. This is called Red Flag, No Red Flag. So just to define red flag real quick, red flag is something that you might see or spot that you will put your awareness on, that you 100% antennas up. I got to pay attention to that. I can't let that slide. Let me see. It's not necessarily that you won't date them. It's not necessarily that you won't follow up with them. More so, this is something I'm going to put my awareness on, and I'm not going to let slide. I gotta make sure. I gotta find out more of this particular situation. Right. So what I like to do is I like to come up with red flag, no red flag, and I like to, and as well as the audience likes to hear, Miss Illy's opinion. And then what I'll do is behind the scenes I do like a survey, just trying to figure it out. Maybe I'll put it on the Instagram story or whatever. Red flag, no red flag on what people think on this. But I definitely like hearing her opinion, and she always has a good one. Okay. You go to a young man's house. You've just been dating a couple of weeks, right? Maybe a couple of months. Let's say 2 months, 3 months. You're over by his house. You guys are hanging out. You look on his counter. It's on the other side of the counter where the island is, let's say. And you see a letter from a doctor. And you kind of just slide it out, and it says, results of a medical exam.
Oh, Lord.
Red flag. No red flag.
Just the results being there on the table?
No, it just says results of a medical exam.
I wouldn't look at that as a red flag, especially if he just left it out like that.
No, it's kind of behind. You're not really supposed to see it. It's kind of
it's there. No, I mean, on the one hand, I would say no red flag because it shows me that at least he's going to the doctor, which a lot of guys don't do, right? Now, if he tried to hide it or, you know what I'm saying, like then I might be a little skeptical. I wouldn't really look at that as a red flag because we all go to the doctor. We all get medical results. So I would.
So you wouldn't want to know, like,
I would want to know.
Is it HIV or is it an ingrown toenail?
No, I would definitely want to know. That would definitely pique my curiosity. But I don't know that if I could classify it as a red flag or not. Because again, especially as a Black woman, I've dated a lot of men that don't even go to the fucking doctor. So, you know, just the fact that he went and is caring about his health, for me, that would be a green flag. Even at least a nigga getting checked out so we can know what's going on. My curiosity I would definitely see like a little peeky peek while he's in the bathroom and see what that is about.
Okay, better question. You go to his red flag, no red flag. This is a new one. You go to his bathroom. You open up the medical cabinet and you see some type of antibiotic or some kind of like some kind of antibiotic lotion or whatever. Red flag, no red flag.
Yeah, I mean, I would say red flag because I would want to know what was wrong.
Is this a fungus or is this chlamydia? What do you got going on?
What's going on? I probably would ask, although, it depends on like the level of our relationship too, because I probably shouldn't be.
Now you're looking a little nosy.
I was gonna say, now I shouldn't even be in his medicine cabinet, but you know what I probably would do is like try to create a conversation where we start talking about health and see if it comes up, and if he says something, and if he's
I Google the name of the medicine.
I'm definitely Googling. What's the name of that? What's it called? I've done that before with guys. Shit, I've done. One guy I was dating had ED because I was like, "What is this for?" Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm Googling all day. But what I would do would create a space for him to share with me, and if he still didn't bring it up, that is probably when it would become a red flag for me.
Okay, makes sense. That was a good one. All right. Okay. This is one I'm gonna get some shit for this one, but all right. I would need you to ask me this one about serving the plate. It would be like, I guess, towards me, because towards you.
Okay. Oh yeah, we were talking about that. Yes. So okay, as a man, right? You're at the family barbecue, and it's her family. It's not even your family. So it's her family barbecue. Everybody's getting their plates, and she come and sit down next to you. She's eating, and she doesn't get you a plate. Babe, the food's over there. Go ahead and get yourself a plate. Red flag, no red flag.
Red flag.
Why?
Red flag. Because, see, you said something that kind of flipped the script real quick, though. Mm-hmm. So I might have to backtrack. We're in her family, not so much. Her family, not so much. Because it's like, it's not about, really, to me, it's really not about what it represents between me and her. It's more so about my culture, how I grew up. You know what I mean? So like my family, whatever. And I know what mom is looking at, like, this chick she's not even, but I do have this thing where it's a bit selfish.
Because I was going to say, I want you to finish, but I feel like if you don't care between your personal dynamic, it shouldn't create a red flag just because your mom is going to look at it a certain way.
Yeah, I wish it didn't, but it does.
And then again, so now you guys have created your dynamic where she understands that that's not necessarily a big deal for you. Like say with your girl right now, you know, she told you that I'm not in the beginning, I'm not going to cook. I'm not doing this and that. You said it was fine. Y'all were cool. Now you go to the barbecue and she's not expecting you to care, but you do care. If you don't communicate that, is that fair to her that you make that a red flag?
Life's not fair. Yes.
Why though? How is she expected to know?
No, you see, no. Okay, I said that wrong because that's something I communicate. That's something I let know. I'm like, hey, listen, there's a certain energy that I put out. Okay, I'm not a yeller. I'm not a demander. Nothing like that. There's an energy I put out. And here's the crazy part. I could say this about my girl now, but I've never had that issue in any relationship. And I don't care who watches this and who talks crazy. Yo, any woman I've ever dealt with, I just exude that like, okay, cool. Yeah, Mike, you know, it's just, I don't know. I've never anything I've had to be like, God damn it, how come I don't get my plate? Oh, blah, 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 blah. It's just always been automatic.
Beans is good. Go get you some.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just always been automatic. And it's something that if I'm with somebody, right, and we're out somewhere and they don't do it, I'd kind of look at them like, yeah, all right, maybe this one didn't work. You know what I'm saying? Like when I first met my girl and something like that, not that I would dump her, but right away I'd be like, Yeah, she's I don't know, man. For some reason, it just triggers in my head. You know what I think of? I think of the door test. You ever watch Bronx Tale?
Mm-hmm.
Where he says she's got to reach open and open your door. If she don't, she's selfish. Leave her alone. For
Right.
some reason, I equate the two. I know I could be way off. People probably kill me for this, but for me, it's just an. If we started dating, we started dating. So let's eliminate the time factor because after time, you know. But let's initially started dating, and I go to her family's house, and she doesn't fix me a plate. Yeah, I'm looking at her sideways, like, all right, I'll go get my plate.
Yeah, I
But
agree, and that's why I was so specific about whose place it was at too, because I think just in general, if I'm bringing, even if it's one of my girlfriends, if I'm bringing you with me to an environment that you're not used to being in, I'm gonna at least supervise you. Like I'm not gonna bring my
yeah, yeah,
homegirl.
leave you hanging.
I'll at least show you where the plates are and da 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 da. And I think in a relationship, I definitely feel like that should kind of be a given. However, if you flip it, now she's in your people's space, and is she comfortable enough going all up in the kitchen fixing you a plate, or you know what I'm saying? Like what?
Early on, maybe no. Early on, maybe no. Yeah, you're right. Early on, maybe no. You kind of gotta like again guide her, whatever, whatever. But I'll bring it back to you. You're with your man
Mm-hmm.
at a barbecue,
Mm-hmm.
and you were thinking about going to make him a plate, and in that few seconds where you were thinking, some chick from the barbecue, right? Not a girl that not a friend of the family,
His
some woman
cousin.
that's there sees that you didn't move, comes over and gives him a plate. Is that an argument or no?
No, it's not an argument. No, I'm
No,
definitely
with him. Is that like, oh really? You're gonna take a plate?
no. Yeah, no. I'm not that insecure. Like when it comes to other women, it wouldn't be an argument. I'd be looking at her for the rest of the barbecue, like, who is this? Why is she bringing him plates? But I wouldn't. It's not something that I would even bring up. I might say something jokingly because that's what I do. Like I definitely talk my shit. Like, oh, you just gonna eat her
A little
plate like
passive
that,
aggressive. A
right?
little passive aggressive.
A joke, but not really any aggression because I genuinely would not
Right.
care about that. I'm not a very jealous person. I'm not saying that I'm not a jealous person. I check my jealousy because I realize that it's a weak ass emotion. And so I don't like to
I got a pretty funny story. 4 years ago, I brought that up because 4 years ago, right? I was at a Dominican barbecue, right? Dominican family's barbecue. And I was sitting down and like in a corner or whatever. And the girl that I was talking to was there talking to me. And she was picking at some hors d'oeuvres that were there. Like she was just grabbing them, right? And it came time to eat. And I was like, all right, let me peep the situation. Maybe I'll get up, go get my own shit, whatever. And the girl didn't like she didn't move. She was just like chilling there. And this girl, I remember she was like a hairdresser for the family or something, came over and she looked good. I think that was what really put the cap on. She looked good. She had like a body done and shit over there in DR. Comes over with my plates. Oh look, here. You gotta eat. You can't just sit there and not eat and then tell me in Spanish. I'm like, oh, thank you, blah, blah, And I start to eat. Yo, this B fucking grabbed the plate and knocked it out my hand and told that what? How dare you? Are you kidding me? Blah blah. Yo, she went in on that girl, and then that was the conversation the entire ride home. Like, just staring at me, like, you really were just gonna take the plate, right? Like, what she was trying to do. She was trying to show me up, and da 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 da. So I politely looked at her and said,
baby. Like if you don't, and that's my thing. In them type of
"Well,
situations,
if you would have moved."
I mean, it's simple. That's my thing. If you have that level of insecurity, then you got to be on your shit. Like you can't leave space and opportunity for another woman to get up in there. Period. So,
sure. Okay, red flag, no red flag. You stop at the Wawa's gas station.
Hey,
Wawa. Walk inside to pick something up. When you walk out, you see a car, getting some gas, and you see a pretty young lady pumping her gas. And you look in the car and you see in the passenger seat, this guy's on the phone, chilling. Okay, a couple of weeks pass, whatever. Let's say somehow, some way you verify he's single. So it's nothing to do with that. Verify he's single, whatever. A couple of weeks later, he sees you in the club or at a bar or at a restaurant, whatever. Pulls up, tries to talk to you. Red flag, no red flag. that you saw that same dude letting his girl pump gas.
Red flag. And I'm a little confrontational in that aspect, so I'm gonna bring it up again. Probably passive aggressively, jokingly, but like, I saw you a couple weeks ago sitting in the car while your girl was pumping gas. What was up with that? And I need to understand why you felt like that was okay. But it would definitely be a red flag for me as far as like his level of chivalry, and because that's just no.
There's just some things, man, that drive me fucking crazy. And this is crazy. My daughter's 14. Can I tell you, I've had at least 5 conversations using this as an example. Never.
It's one of those
never
small
in your life do you deal with a man. And not that you can't, not that you're not capable, not that you're not strong enough. That I've taught her how to do it. Not that you don't know how, but never deal with a man that's going to allow you to sit there, get out of your car, work while he's just sitting there on his ass. Let me tell you something. My body has been through pains people will never understand. Levels of pain people will never understand.
Right.
And I've been through shit, so whatever it is, health-wise, people will never understand. And there's one of the things that I will never do is allow her to get out of the car and pump gas. I fucking hate it. She used to play this game and try to beat me to it. Like, ha, joking. And I looked at her one day and I was like,
this ain't a
I
game.
looked at her dead serious, like, that's not how this works. Do me a favor. You can go in and pay for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to go slide your car, whatever, or take whatever you want to do. That's fine. But as far as you sit in the car, I'll pump the gas. You know what I mean? I'm like that about changing a tire. Like, the worst shit is, and even in my physical condition, watching a dude sitting there while his girl's, and it has nothing to do with her capability. It has nothing to do with her being able to do it. It's just, to me, it's like, bro, that speaks volumes of a man. It speaks volumes of what kind of person he is. You know what I mean? Those are the small gestures and small ways that you could show her, hey, look, all right, let me, you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm blowing it up too much in my mind.
No,
but to me, it represents so much. It's a very
small thing. Like exactly what you said. It's a very small thing that represents what could possibly be a bigger issue. Because I think, generally speaking, when a man cares about a woman, like, you don't want to put her in a position to be doing extra stuff. Like, even the gas thing. Personally, I need him to get out the car and pump the gas. But I feel like I can overlook that before I overlook a tire change. Like, there ain't no way in hell.
Oh, yeah. It's different levels.
I'm giving somebody for making me change a tire while he's sitting in the damn car. Like, matter of fact, get out now. I done changed the tire, get out. Figure out how you get home, because no. But, yes, I think that's something that, and that's the struggle too, is for being like this modern independent woman. It's like, I can do it. I know how to do it. My dad taught me how to change a tire in case I was ever by myself and, didn't have somebody to change the tire. Mm-hmm. And I think as women, sometimes we forget that because we can do something doesn't mean that we should be, and it's a great skill to have, because you might not always have a man in the car, but when you do, he need to be getting up to do something. Even if y'all do it together, maybe he doesn't have the strength.
And this is exactly
hard, but like, it needs to be a group effort.
Exactly, because I'm not the handiest guy in the world.
Right,
that's not a secret. I'm not the handiest guy in the world, but the one thing nobody could say about me is that when there's a situation, I won't try. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, hey, look, sometimes it's good to have the two sets of hands, and okay, Mike, you do and I'll do. That's fine. Pardon me. But my shit is when, you just kind of like, go do it. Go do it. That's not cool.
Yeah, no. And I think a lot of, I've been in that situation, and I sometimes get mad at my dad, because it's like, I wish he would have even just little things like that. That's not something I probably ever even thought about until I was at over 30, right. And then you start to realize the patterns of like, okay, so I think it's important, and it's great that you're telling your daughter that, but still teach her.
Yeah, it's like, don't condition people. Like, I always give the example, right? When I first meet a woman, like, I used to like spoil them emotionally, right? Emotionally, because financially I can't do it, but emotionally spoil them, and I'm the communicator, and we're talking, and I was the best. And I equated to this, and I equate the same thing to like conditioning people as far as like the gas thing. Let's say you come home from work every day, and we sit on the couch, I grab your feet and I put them on my lap, and I start giving you a foot massage. And I do that for 30 days. You know what happens on the 31st day? You come home, we sit on the couch, you automatically put your feet on my lap,
Yeah.
right? And then I don't do the massage. And you're like, what happened? What? I'm like, what? Why aren't you? No, I'm good. Oh my God, what's wrong? You changed. And all you ever wanted in those 30 days was for her to say one time, hey, you put your feet on my lap. I'll give you a foot massage. Let's exchange. Let's your turn. Right. And she never did it. So once she never did it, you realize, oh, she's just a selfish person. And I feel like humans, you condition them to be a certain way. And one of the ways women can condition a man is by medial tasks like that, letting them slide. I'll do it. I'll take care of it. I don't need it. I don't need that. I'm good. You're like, no,
just like,
don't condition him, because that becomes part of a bigger problem, because now he assumes that you're just going to handle things. And the worst thing that can happen is for him to do that, just assume that you're going to handle things.
Well, that's what happens. I think that's what happens a lot again with these self-proclaimed alpha women. I'm an alpha. I got this. I don't need a man to do da-da-da. You know, I appreciate having a man in my life, so I'll bring him in, but I'm still my same independent self. Okay, he sees that. Okay, you got that. You know, 6 months down the line, now she's mad because he's letting you be who you've always been, instead of like, fall back, sis. Yeah, play
you get in the car and it's like, where are we going?
Like,
yeah, it's like with a relationship, right? You get in the car and she's like, she always has plans. And then a couple weeks later, she's complaining, he never makes any plans. You're like, woman, you never gave me space. You always, you know what I mean? You condition people. That's my whole point behind it. You condition people, and you really shouldn't do that as a woman. Like, men do it too. We do it, you know, we have our ways. I was very specific about the comment because I wanted to point out a way where women will condition men not to step up. You know what I'm saying? Like, step up, you know? And yeah, you know, maybe I'm wrong by not communicating what I want, but I also find myself now not conditioning people that way. Just kind of letting them know, like, this has to be a mutual exchange, which is the beauty of when you meet somebody that's for you. When the beauty of meeting somebody that's for you is, I'll use the same example. Girl comes in, she puts her hands on my lap. The next day she comes in, she grabs my feet automatically, puts it on her lap. And I'm like, oh, you're the one. This is what I've been looking for. Holy shit. You know what I mean? But
yeah, because I think
one last one. We're what? We're almost at an hour, so we got one more.
Right.
And this is a good one. So let's see if we could bang this one out. Okay. You're dating for 6 months. You're starting to have feelings for this dude. All right. He's never shown you any signs of aggression, anything. But after 6 months, you'll find out that he had a domestic violence. And I'm not saying might have, could have. No, he beat the shit out of her. 7 years ago, his first baby mama. His kid's mother, 7 years ago. He beat her up. And you find out 7 years later, after dating him 6 months, that he had a domestic violence.
Hell yeah, it's a red flag. I think domestic violence is always a red flag. I don't care if it was 27 years ago, because you clearly have the propensity to be triggered enough to take it there. And so that's my thing. And I get that sometimes it can be an isolated incident, you know, depending what the emotions are in there. But that would definitely be something for me to look out and see, like, yeah, how he responds when he's angry, which is why I always say, like, you don't really know anybody until you've seen them, that range of emotion. Yeah. Like, until I've seen you mad at me too, not even necessarily mad at work. I wanted you to get mad at me. When you get mad at me and we can get through that peacefully, or at least calmly, then I know that there is at least, you know, possibility for a future. But I remember dating a guy that it was never violent, but it was name calling, and it was like, oh, you stupid hoe, you dumb bitch, and it's yelling, and then, you know, and then I get my next boyfriend after that, and we're arguing, and we're just sitting here debating and going back. You like, voices might get raised a little bit, but it was just a nice little debate. Nobody's calling names. It's intellectual. I was like, I like this. This is how we need to argue, because my thing is, if you can call me a bitch and a hoe, you know, dumb, whatever, then what else are you capable of? Because now you've reached a certain level of disrespect. You know what I'm saying? And so how much further are you willing to take it? Violence for me is always, even if you fought a nigga, to be honest, like, you know, like, even in jail, like, violent offenders versus, you know, the blue collar crimes or the white collar crimes, it's a different look.
It's a different case capacity, right?
You
you're
have
not capable what you're capable of.
You don't care about like human life, or you have no regard for like personal safety of other people. That is always a red flag for me. You know what I'm saying? Even if you just
No, it
fight,
makes sense.
because I just never know when that might turn around. Now you want to smack me upside the head.
Man, makes sense. That's 100%.
What about
All
as a
right,
guy?
with that, we're gonna
But what
close
about as a
out.
guy? Let me ask you real quick. As a guy, though, would you, she's violent. Maybe she had a domestic violence situation with an ex. Would that be a red flag as a guy?
Absolutely. I don't listen. The one thing about me is I have a lot of rules. It's so funny. One of my things is you yell at me in public, just tell me you want to break up. It's over.
Okay.
Like like I have a way of talking that pisses people off, when I'm mad. I don't yell. I used to be in a jail setting, and I would tell the guy, I was like, I don't scream, I don't yell, my voice doesn't change. The way I'm always going to talk to you like this, whether I'm mad, happy, pissed off, or sad. This is how I'm going to talk to you, right? And that's how I am in relationships. And let me tell you something. What I found is that will fucking drive a woman crazy.
Hell yeah.
Yo, I had the funny story. I probably shouldn't be telling the story. One day, me and my girl get into a little tiff over some bullshit, right? And I felt like she wasn't hearing me. Like she wasn't listening. She was hearing me, but she wasn't listening. And I look at her and I go, sweetheart, that's not how it goes. Yo, to this day, she fucking gets, it just,
I ain't your
she goes,
sweetheart.
you called me sweet. The way you said sweetheart. But I don't yell. I don't. No, but you know what you were doing. You called the way you said it, sweetheart. Like to this day, it's like I can't. It's like grabbing a fucking noose around her neck. But that's just how I am. I don't do the. Don't you physically touch me? Oh my God, I'm surrounded by sisters, yo, that like we spoil each other in the way we talk to each other so much. Like how sweet we could be fucking pissed. Don't get me wrong. Every now and then people blow up, but we could be pissed, and it's always like, but you're not like you don't seem to understand. No, listen, and we're very much talking, communicating. We don't do that. Like fuck that, I'll fuck you up. Never. My mother, she might have done it with my sisters, but with me, Mike, listen to me. Come in. No, you're not. Very calm. So I've taken that into my entire life with my daughter. Yo, she could be having me through the roof, and I'll be like, Maya, listen to me. And I'm very, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't find any. So when I hear a woman slap the man, hit him, disrespected him, whatever, I say to myself, oh, it's just a matter of time before you feel like you're opportunistic. You know what I'm saying? Right. People like that tend to be opportunistic. While you're stronger than them, but they feel like you're stronger than them emotionally, like your energy is stronger than theirs. They let you be. The minute they feel a little slight drip in your energy, I don't know how they're gonna come. Right. Go back and I'm like, oh no, I'm good. I'm walking away from it. I don't never. The rule was, oh, you wanna break up? Just yell at me in public. You know what? I just turn my back, and it's like I never met you. I'm gone. We could be together a year, 2 years, 5 years. You yell at me in public, that means you don't respect me. You don't respect me? Cool. That's something we can never get back to the original state. Once you cross that line, I'm not erasing it and drawing another line. I'm literally walking away from you like, yo, work on your life. I'll work on mine. Maybe we meet again some other time. But right now, nah, it's not happening. I don't do it. I don't tolerate it. Never. And with that said, I just do want to put something out. And I'm really excited about what's going on in my life right now. I'm actually going to clip this, so let me do this right. I'm really excited about what's going on in my life. August 14th at GP's in Guttenberg, New Jersey. I'll put out some more details. A lot of personal evites are going to be going out. I will be hosting a book launching party or a book release party for my book. It's the first in a series, and the first book in the series is called Shallow River to Deep Ocean, A Man's Guide to Understanding His Woman by First Understanding Himself. Okay. I'm going to be putting it out. I've gotten a lot of amazing responses from some people that I really care about, my inner circle, a lot of people that I've known over the years that said that they're absolutely going to be there. And that warms my heart because it just shows that I got the support. But I also want to see people I haven't seen in a while.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope to have a big crowd. The people that are working on the event for me, I'm hands off. I'm not even involved in the process. But the people that are handling the event for me um, are doing an excellent job, man, and they're putting out a lot of effort into it for me. It's going to be the first one. The second one will be in Orlando, Florida. I'll be posting that date, and then
Okay.
our last one will be down here in South Florida. It's these are locations and places that are already set, but I'm not at liberty to let them out. Like I said, I'm not the one
Right.
planning the events. But
Right.
the first one is definitely August 14th at GP's in Guttenberg, New Jersey. More details to come. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Illy, as always, thank you
Always
very much. Always a good
a
week, always a
pleasure.
good conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been Dropping Dimes and Miss Illy. We'll catch you guys next
And we
week.
out.
And we out, and we out, and we out, and we out.